Hello, it's George again. If you fancy reading something absolutely childish that quite possibly may well be the most offensive thing you've ever read, then buy my best-selling book. You can also sign up for my Patreon for hundreds of hours of exclusive content and, of course, check out my own Funkyspectrum website for more videos. Links will be in the description, and like and subscribe here if you want to be kept up to date with all the nonsense on YouTube. Now, let's get to the video.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, get your fingers out of your rectums and get them on the keyboards of your spectrums. But all not, as it were. We just sort of the keyboards of the Game and Watch. I don't know what rhymes with Game and Watch for. Oh, yeah, I've got something. Stop wiping your hands liberally all over your unwashed crotch, because it's time to smear them over a borrowed Game and Watch. Imagine turning a Game and Watch home, or returning a Game and Watch to one of your mates, and just like, thanks for giving me that back, but it smells really funny. I don't know, it was smelling pretty funny when I got it. You just need to give it a wash down. Oh, okay. But anyway, this is Snoopy Tennis on the Game & Watch, and let's have a look and see what these fucking bastards are getting up to in their back garden. It's an interesting one, this. I'm not aware of there being any others of a Snoopy licence used by Nintendo. It's strange. It shows the sort of cultural cross-pollination of the day. There's also a sort of tabletop Snoopy game that's different to this one, so we'll take a look at that. I believe Snoopy wields a hammer in that one. I'm always up for playing a game where the protagonist wields a hammer. But anyway, let's have a look. Snoopy Tennis on the Game & Watch. Okay, here we are, Charlie Brown launching the first of Snoopy's bottom nuggets into the air. Snoopy looking really, really upset, as you can see in the top tree there. He's really annoyed that, well, Charlie Brown hasn't just left his jobbies around the garden, because Snoopy had intended that Linus Tech Tips would come across one of them and fall headlong into one, smearing it all over his fucking insufferable, smug face. Try building a PC when you're blind as a result of my fucking worms, you fucking bastard. But yeah, of course, Snoopy does have a really bad case of worms, because he's actually, Charlie Brown's family's quite poor. That's why Charlie Brown has to sleep underneath the piano instead of in his bedroom. But the sky's absolutely full of turds here that are just flying around. It's no wonder Snoopy's irritated. I mean, this represents a lot of work for the average dog, especially when you're from a poor family and you only get, like, I would imagine Snoopy gets like sort of, I don't know, rice maybe with wine poured on it or something like that. Is that what a poor family would give to a dog? I'm not particularly sure. If you know what poor families feed their dogs, please write in the comments. But look at this fucking bitch hitting the ball, and not that I'm, well, I would say I'm a bloody poor family, except I'm not really a family as such. Me and my dad here, and unfortunately Mr. Bundles has passed away, so we used to feed him just sort of dry mix, but for a while we had this stuff that you put boiling water on. But he used to do the most, I think it was personally because he was just changing his diet at the time, but he did the most awful bloody smells from his bottom. And speaking of which, hopefully Snoopy's actually causing some of these fucking awful stinks to go houseward, as that fucking whore that appears on the top balcony there. I'm not sure who she actually is. I think she's the person, well, basically she looks like a cross between one of the Bifsto kids and a smug bastard, or maybe it's the Oxo kids. See the way her nose is sort of upturned there, like an absolute inbred snob, like Princess Beatrice or something like that, spending half the time looking at jazz magazines of small children, while her husband, who's also her father, fails to sweat in another room. Jesus Christ, that fucking cow hit that one really fast. And that's the thing you've got to watch out with Game & Watch. It doesn't, it's obviously it's frame to frame and sort of jot to jot. You don't see the speed that the actual thing's moving really through the sky. You just got to watch out for the speed that it's actually going to appear in the next frame out. I didn't realise that fucking bastard had really upped the ante on that one. I don't know, maybe if she hits it multiple times. Oh, there we go again. She's returning something that's bloody hell, that's already been returned. That was a difficult one for our Snoopy there. Later on, if Snoopy keeps failing, he's going to have to heat up the metal, or presumably the tennis racket's made of metal. It'll be like an old style tennis racket, sort of either catgut or metal, And if it's catgut, they can sort of dip it in a thing of boiling water and it'll just tense up. That's what they used to do with tennis rackets back in the day, and those Inuit slippers that they made that look very the same. They used to basically, they put them in boiling water and then they get more tense, so you could put them in boiling water and then Charlie Brown could help him to thumb his gland's penis down. Oh, bloody hell, think about bloody gland's penises. Yeah, Charlie Brown could help him to thumb his gland's peni down on it. Let's play game A. That was game B. Stop screaming at me, Charlie Brown, for Christ's sake. Bloody hell. A bit of a problem there, needed a bit of air, but yeah, Charlie Brown was with his single lock of hair, almost like a stray piece of glans pubis from the mons pubis on top of his head there. The poor little bastard. He's had leukemia since an early age, Charlie Brown, so you do have to sort of pity him. It's awful what he's been through, basically, and he's got this fucking bitch up in the top layer of the house who's, of course, refusing to give him her vagina or any access thereto, and would rather bed down with Linus Tech Tips, who stinks of shit. I think it was Linus Tech Tips in this game. I can't remember. There's someone called Linus anyway, and there's only one person in the world called Linus, so I think it's probably Linus Tech Tips. I'm not 100% on it. I do remember him looking a bit like Linus Tech Tips, but he's not. Doesn't seem to be in this game. I don't know. Maybe he's up in the top eating the bird's nest, or eating birds' eggs from the bird's nest. There's waiting for the mother bird to come home so he can just absolutely have a beamer from ear to ear at the infanticide that he's caused. I don't know what it would be called, if chickicide for baby birds or something. I'm sure there'd be some for you smart bastards in there who know what the term for eating baby birds is called. Perhaps eating baby birds that are still in eggs is called, and perhaps you could let me know and I can say what it is in the next video, or in the next video where I have to talk about Linus Tech Tips devouring birds whole in their nest. But bloody hell, Jesus Christ, that was getting pretty tetchy. But yeah, he's been waiting in the nest just for the mother bird to come back, just so he could be sitting there laughing but not guffawing, laughing in a sort of kind of way, like really sinister sort of way, like a murderer would do or something. Well, he has been murdering, I suppose. He has been murdering the baby birds, but like really, really sinister. But while he's doing that, the noise. While he's doing that, he's like unzipping his glans peni and pulling at it profusely, which is already really erect because he's been chewing through these, crunching through the bones of the dead baby birds, and there's nothing that's going to get Linus Tech Tips more erect than eating a nest full of dead baby birds. So it's a really, really sinister, nasty scene that we're seeing. And speaking of a sinister, nasty scene, I mean, where are all these turds actually going that Snoopy's returning, as it were? He still looks pretty glum. You would think in the top of that tree he'd actually be looking pretty pleased with himself, because he's managed to return loads of turds at this point to a little girl. I presume they're going into that little girl's room who's standing. She looks like, she's got that sniffing sort of face on, that face where she looks like she's really inhaling the bouquet of boffs of all these horrendous sort of dog eggs that are flying around, absolutely flying around the sky outside the house, and she's obviously really, really into it. I like to think, well, I would imagine that she's probably actually inside the bedroom, just with a window open and a mouth wide open. Maybe they've got a Velux window or something, and she's put up a little bit of tin or metal, or perhaps a sheet of copper on the outside, so that instead of hitting the internal lip, well, when the shits hit it, they don't roll down it and hit the bottom lip. They just sort of roll off the ridge, and then she can immediately sort of chuck herself half backwards out of the window with the mouth open and deeply inhales, like as a shit sort of, she's like inhaling the shit, so it goes in her trachea and actually down into her lungs. So it's a bit like, I don't know, like you can imagine if she goes out on a Friday night, she's maybe fond of doing lines of excretia. Well, this is like the sort of motherload of that. This is like if someone did, I don't know, like a massive house brick sized lump of sniffable drugs. I don't know what those sort of drugs would be, but if they did like loads of them at once, that's sort of the equivalent way that she's wanting to take shits on board. She's really just said, sure, bloody hell. I missed again. I don't know why it shows broken bottles when the thing's missed as well. Perhaps these shits are actually, when they get into the house, are going to be decanted into the family drinks. Like if you put a bit of ginger into some liquid and then a bit of sugar in with it as well, I think that's all you need. And then you can sort of make ginger beer. If you leave it until it's fizzy, then that makes ginger beer, and that's your sort of ginger beer starter, as it were. And then you can put it into bits of that into other bottles of liquid to make more ginger beer. I guess that's probably what they're trying to do with the shits, because obviously this family's coprophagists anonymous, or they're all really into it, apart from Charlie Brown, who's like desperately trying to launch them away from the house. But his dad's had revenge on him so many times. Like, Charlie Brown, I fucking told you, if you throw out any more of these fucking shits, you know what's going to happen. So Charlie, come here, Charlie. Dad, please don't do it, please don't. Charlie, come here. Get your trousers down. Dad, please. I don't want... Get your trousers down, Charlie. Then Charlie takes his trousers down. His dad just takes a really rock-hard dog turd that he's been stockpiling on his window ledge in a big bowl, so they all go nice and sort of... and dry in the sun, so that he can crumble them onto his breakfast and stuff. But he just thumbs one dry with no lubrication straight into Charlie Brown's bottom. Okay, bye.